Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 19 of Season 4 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Cincinnati Ford Dealers 400 here at Kentucky Speedway, as we are getting set for 41 laps of racing here at this mile-and-a-half racetrack. Now, before we look at the starting lineup, as per, we got to take a look at the point standings as they look coming into the race today. So, Joshua Sekuli still maintains the points lead by 7 points over Sean Galligan. Third is William Brock. Fourth, Dylan Young. Fifth, Chris Dollerton. Sixth, Tim Fiegel. Seventh is last race winner Kyle Matthews. Eighth, Trent Dunham. Ninth, James McLeod. 10th, James Qualls. And then a tie for 11th with Dylan Poteet and Dylan Thoreau. So that is the top 12 right there for the chase currently. Now, the two wildcard drivers currently are still Zach Flickinger with 2 wins, 18th in points, and Johnny Gardner, 13th in points with 1 win. Still plenty of time for other drivers to get wins to try and get the wildcard spot or to get in the top 12. But let's look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row is Benjamin Miles and Joshua Collard. Top 10, Pichu London is on the pole for today. Starting next to him is Johnny Gardner. Row 2 is Richard Johnson, William Duncan. Row 3, Dorian Facepuncher, Dylan Thoreau. Row 4, James Qualls, Matt Haas. And then row 5, Kyle Matthews and Alex Ferranti. With that said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Cincinnati Ford Dealers 400 at Kentucky.
Drivers, start your engines!
Now, this race will be interesting because I've done tests here at this particular version of Kentucky, which is the brand new 2016 repaved version of the racetrack. And from what I have seen, the inside lane works very well in turns 1 and 2, but in 3 and 4, you want to be on the outside lane. However, I may have made I&I changes to the track file here, so we might see something different. I don't know, we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled for this, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for this race to see what lanes are going to work in what places. But one guy I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for is Kyle Matthews, because he's been on a roll. He's moved up into the top 10 in points, 2 wins, including a win at the last race, which was Daytona. We shall see if he can maybe make it 2 in a row and 3rd win of the season. We'll find out as it's time to boogity 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 go racing. Well, Richard Johnson got to lead the first lap, and it looks like the bottom lane is the preferred lane all over the racetrack. Although they are really going at it hard already with 3 wide racing around the top 10 back. But Dorian Facepuncher's got the run on the inside with no push from anybody or any drafting help, so he's going to try and utilize the bottom lane for himself, and he got to lead that lap. Dorian Facepuncher, on the other hand, he's been struggling this season. He's only had 1 top 5/top 10 finish of the season, 25th in points, and he's definitely looking for a big turnaround for his season, and he's maybe trying to pull that off here today. But on the inside is Seth Cole in the number 98. Now Seth Cole leads that lap, and it was 4 wide. Oh, and Facepuncher into the wall. Oh, and we got a big crash. Oh, a couple cars upside down. the big one here on turn 1 at Kentucky. 2 cars went upside down. I believe one of them was Baskinger and the other one might have been Pichu London. But a lot of front runners were caught up in this mess. Dylan Jacobs, oh, and they are still wrecking. Trent Dunham gets turned around big time. That took out about half of the field right there. But it looked like Ryan Brommer took the lead while all that mayhem was taking place. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the replay to see what brought the caution out for the first time today here at Kentucky. Well, here's a look at what happened. So it looked like, and I was going to point it out when I saw it, but you can use that apron to your advantage, and they almost attempted 4 to even 5 wide, and it looks like the first initial contact is going to come from Pichu London into Richard Johnson, and then up in the Dorian face puncher, Alex Ferranti, he gets turned around into Dylan Jacobs, and then right there you saw a couple big hits. Kyle Matthews into Baskinger, Baskinger into London, and that's how both the 21 and the 18 went upside down, and the 18 went into the catch fence, and the 79 of Matt Haas actually rode the wall for a little bit, and there you see other drivers caught up in this. Charles Sanford was in it, Trent Dunham, Zach Flickinger, Benjamin Miles I think got a piece of it, and William Duncan was involved in this as well. Johnny Gardner got big-time damage as a result of all this chaos. Paul Minnick, and looks like Dylan Young was caught up in it. Whoa, we had another incident, and Phil Parker went upside down. Let's see what happened here. Looks like this was all in the after effects of this crash. Let's try and get a better camera shot. I don't think we will. Let's go to helicopter view. Oh, and it looked like it was McLeod and Galligan. Galligan just turns into McLeod on the apron and turns him, and then McLeod comes back up the racetrack into Galligan, into Parker, and that's what sent Parker's car flipping wildly and hard into the outside wall. So we had a second incident take place after the initial wreck happened. But let's actually go back one more time and look at the how this wreck got started. We're going to go to helicopter view to really give us a good shot here. And you can see the 78 of Dylan Jacobs gets a big run, but he does tuck back in line. And yeah, it was just Pichu trying to give room to other drivers to come back up the racetrack, misjudged it, and got up into the 93. And then as he gets up the racetrack, gets slammed by Baskinger, and that's what sent him upside down. And Baskinger, after hitting the 21, gets hit by the 42, and that's what sent him into the catch fence. But more cars I didn't know were in it. Dylan Thoreau, James Qualls were involved. It looked like LeDuc, Raphael LeDuc was involved just a little bit, and even Jessica Shelton. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and take you to the restart here at Kentucky. Well, after that first caution, we got a lot of cars out of the race, and they include Dorian Facepuncher, James McLeod, James Qualls, Johnny Gardner, Phil Parker, Sean Galligan, Matt Haas, Kyle Matthews, Pichu London, Dylan Jacobs, Jake Baskinger, Zach Flickinger, Dylan Young, and Trent Dunham. A lot of guys, tough seasons continue, including Trent Dunham, Dylan Jacobs, and Dorian Facepuncher. So we're down to 28 cars on track, and we're going to take a look at the field as much as we can. But everyone looked like they stayed out on track. They didn't come into pit road, but Ryan Brommer is your race leader. Second is Seth Cole. Third is Chris Dollarton. Fourth, Jay Jefferson. Fifth, Dylan Poteet. Sixth, Carson Gum. Seventh, Jonathan Zorline. Eighth, Jackie Tang. Ninth, William Brock. 10th, Joshua Sekuli, the points leader. Then the rest of the top 20 is Joshua Collard, DJ Curtis, Ashland Boyd, Matt McIntyre, Preston Plord, Emmanuel Hartnett, Patrick Smith, Matt McIntyre, Tim Fiegel, Jessica Shelton, and William Duncan. And then the rest of the field is Benjamin Miles, Zach Flickinger, Dylan Thoreau, Paul Minnick, Charles Sanford, Rafael Leduc, Richard Johnson, and Alex Ferranti. Green flag is back out. Already a battle for the lead ongoing. Seth Cole to the inside of Ryan Brommer. You can tell there are going to be quite a few cars that are not going to be up to speed as a result of that caution. And just as Seth Cole takes the lead, it gets taken away from him by Chris Dollarton, who in turn's about to get it taken away from him by Dylan Poteet. Poteet on the inside looking to go for that spot. And it looks like he will get it. Let's see. Doesn't have him cleared. They're still side by side. Dollarton getting a little bit more speed carried off of the corner to keep that spot at bay, but now Poteet's going to try and take it away and will lead at the line. As things are starting to get a little bit testy up here, as here comes other drivers, Carson Gum, who's been looking to try and get some momentum back on his side as he's 16th in points, looking to go for his first win of the season. Meanwhile, Ryan Brommer is the highest running rookie right now in the third spot. Joshua Collard to the inside using that apron. And Collard already has a win. He's looking for number 2 so that way he can be in contention for a wild card spot for the chase. Now also keep in mind, this will be the final season we're doing the top 12 and wild cards chase format. Next season, we're going to go back to the traditional top 10 chase. Meanwhile, battle for lead going on up here. Carson Gum with a run to the inside. And look who's coming up through the field. Jay Jefferson in the 87. Though it's 3 wide for third, but Jefferson, he's trying to get momentum on his side as well, as he's been gradually falling in points. Fell to 24th in points over the course of the past several weeks, but he's looking for his second win of the season so he can get in the hunt for a wild card spot as well. And now he has a run on the inside of the 19 of Carson Gum. And by the way, I just noticed an error. I accidentally put in one of Seth Cole's old number 98 Chevys instead of one of his Toyotas, so that was my mistake. I guess you could say he wanted to go a little bit old school for this race. But yeah, I apologize for that. That was a fail on my part. Anywho, Ryan Brommer now has the race lead, and it's a battle between rookies for the lead as here comes Jackie Tang in the number 90 with a run on the inside. Jackie Tang of Yates Racing in that number 90 car in the Citgo Ford. It's Fords dominating the top 3 right now, but from a different team. You got Yates, Penske, and Roush going at it up here. And Seth Cole, he's trying to break up the Ford party. Let's look around, and oh, it looks like they are definitely going to be catching Charles Sanford momentarily, and this could really stack up the field and could bring in other drivers who have been sort of falling back a little bit to catch up to these leaders in hopes of making it a better battle for position. But now Chris Dollarton now takes back the lead. Looking around to see who's all still running properly. Looks like the next car that they may catch up to, if they continue to stay out for as long as they are, is Alex Ferranti. But I got a feeling that these guys will probably end up pitting with about 13, 14 laps to go. Right now we're at about 23 to go, I want to say. But right now, Dollarton has that spot. Seth Cole's trying to follow the 22 in hopes of maybe getting in his head to maybe go for the lead. And how about Tim Fiegel in the number 8 car? Tim Fiegel now up to 4th, and he comes into this race 6th in the point standings. He moved up from 9th after Daytona a couple of weeks ago. And he's definitely looking to continue that momentum up in hopes of keeping himself in the top 10 in points to make the chase. Top 12 in points, I should say. Meanwhile, Seth Cole trying to get a little bit of air in the grill of that race car to try and see if he could go for a move underneath the 22, but hasn't been able to make it happen yet. And they are definitely catching the 5 of Alex Ferranti now. Then up ahead of them, battling for position, is Zach Flickinger and Richard Johnson, who are both damaged as a result of that caution. And speaking of cautions, it just came back out. Oh, we got another big wreck. 2 more cars go upside down. More lead lap cars in there. Seth Cole, who was 2nd, was involved. And Chris Dollerton, the leader, was in it. Patrick Smith, Matt McIntyre, Alex Ferranti. I think it had to do with Alex Ferranti. What is Patrick Smith doing through the grass? But another big wreck has just occurred, and I got a feeling it was caused by lap traffic being in the way. And now everybody's going to come into pit road, but now that they're pitting now, they should be able to make it on fuel the rest of the way because they are pitting past the halfway point, so they should be good to go to continue the rest of the way on fuel. But we're going to stay on this camera to see what's going to happen and who's going to come out of the pits first. Those 2 cars that you see that stayed out, Charles Sanford and Alex Ferranti, they were both a lap down, so they're going to get back on the lead lap, I believe. But it looks like the first car that's going to come out of pit road is going to be Carson Gum in the 19, and then it's going to be Jackie Tang, Jay Jefferson, Preston Plord, and Joshua Collard, your top 5. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the 2nd time today here at Kentucky. Well, here's a look at what happened. So yes, as the leaders were catching the 5 of Alex Ferranti, looks like right there, Dollerton gets up into the 5 and turns the 5 into the 98 of Seth Cole, and that's what got all this started. They come back up the racetrack, and all 3 of them hit hard in the outside wall. But then you're going to see them come back down the racetrack, and then we're going to see more collisions take place. As you're going to see, well, first off, actually, no, it was William Brock and Jonathan Zorline that actually started the bigger portion. Looks like as they were going down the racetrack to avoid everything, right there, Zorline just runs right over the 66, comes back up into traffic, and then the 66 went on his side, but the 88 went upside down, actually got hit in the roof. That was a pretty hard impact in the roof of the car. I hope the 88 is okay. I hope Zorline's alright after that, and then you're going to see more cars kind of go on by as a result, but man, quite a few more cars going to be out of the race, so we're going to be down to about less than half a field. But we're going to go ahead and take you to the restart once again here at Kentucky. So the other cars that are now retired out of the race after that second crash include Seth Cole, Patrick Smith, Jonathan Zorline, Matt McIntyre, Ashland Boyd, and William Brock. So we're down to 22 cars on track, 19 on the lead lap. After the pit stops, Carson Gum is your race leader. 2nd is Jackie Tang. 3rd is Jay Jefferson. 4th is Preston Plord. 5th, Joshua Collard. 6th, Tim Fiegel. 7th is Ryan Brommer. 8th, Joshua Schooley. 9th, Dylan Poteet. 10th, William Duncan. 11th, Rafael LeDuc. 12th is Benjamin Miles. 13th, Paul Minnick. 14th, DJ Curtis. 15th is Dylan Thoreau. 16th, Zach Flickinger. 17th, Richard Johnson. 18th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 19th, Jessica Sheldon. And then the 3 cars a lap down, 20th or 22nd is Charles Sanford, Alex Ferranti, Chris Dollarton. But we're getting ready to go back to racing with 16 laps to go. Still a long ways away from the end of this race. But we're going to stay on these lap cars to keep an eye on them to make sure that everybody gets around them okay and we don't get what we just had happen a few moments ago. And the bottom lane in the back of the field with the 31 and others, they're going to get screwed over as a result of all this. But it seems like they are maneuvering around them okay. Anyways, back up here at the front, we got a lead change. Jay Jefferson takes the lead away from Jackie Tang. But now it's looking like this race is going to come down to the top 5 or so. Jay Jefferson continuing the lead, but yeah, like I was saying, it's looking like only the top 5 is going to be the ones to settle this race. Unless somehow the 8 of Tim Fiegel can get a long enough run to get up to the top 5. Same with even Rafael Leduc. And what a comeback for Rafael Leduc. He got a tiny piece of that big one in the beginning of the race. Got it repaired, still up to speed, and he's running up here in the top 10. And Leduc has definitely been needing to get some good runs if he's going to have any chance of trying to make this season's chase. But right now it's looking like they're losing ground to the top 5. And speaking of the top 5, we got another new leader, Preston Plord. First time I've seen him up here at the front of the field all day. And he's going to lead this lap, but here comes Carson Gum to try and retake it. Joshua Collard thought about making it 3 wide for the lead, but didn't have a big enough run to really make it stick. After all, there is, especially when you're coming off the apron back up the racetrack, you're going to get a bit of a disadvantage when trying to get back up. You'll lose a couple miles per hour in speed, and it's going to help for the people on the outside of you to go on around. I don't know, it's looking like perhaps little by little this second pack of 5 cars are slowly catching up to the top 5, so if they get enough time, which I do think they have enough time to catch up to him. It's now 10 laps to go. Still plenty of time for these guys to catch up to the top 5 to make it a 10-car fight for the win. Especially now that these guys up here are starting to get more single file and not really racing all that much. And also it's going to help that they're catching up to Alex Ferranti again, who's going 10 miles per hour slower than he did before. I thought we were going to get another incident like what we had a little while ago, but that ain't the case, and it looks like the guy who's going to lose out on all this big time is Joshua Collard, as he is stuck, or was stuck on the outside, and now Collard's going to go to the outside of the 5, so now things get settled. And now they caught Chris Dollarton. And Jay Jefferson's going to get screwed over big time right there. Man, I tell you, the guys who suffered for this the most was Carson Gum and Joshua Collard, as they were up in the top 3, and now they're barely in the top 10, and now the top 2 have pulled away from everyone else. Preston Plord still hanging on to that spot on the track, and Jackie Tang is right behind him. So now the top 10 has just gotten separated into a more scattered field. But I tell you, who did benefit positions-wise for this was Rafael Leduc, as he's now in the top 5, now working on trying to get to 3rd. 5 laps to go here at Kentucky now. Or actually, no, it's 6 laps to go. 77 of Leduc goes by Joshua Sekuli. But yeah, you can tell I don't think they're going to have enough time to catch up to the top two, because the top two have pulled away in such a huge way that it's going to be tough, unless the 03 of Sanford. I thought Sanford was going to block them, but now that's actually helped Jackie Tang to get a run on the inside for the lead for himself. Jackie Tang on the inside of the 24. Now, are they going to catch Richard Johnson before the race is over? I don't know. But Jackie Tang with a big run on the inside. But yeah, Jackie Tang now has the race lead for himself, and he ought to thank Charles Sanford for kind of slowing up the 24 a little bit, and then made that huge move on the inside to take the spot. But now here comes Plord once again to the inside. Perhaps these two racing it out, and now they are catching the 93. Perhaps this group of cars can still come back, and they are definitely catching the top two pretty quickly. They gained a little over 0.4 of a second that last lap, and it's 3 laps to go. And Johnson did hold up the 24 a little bit. And the 90's got a run on the inside once again. Fiegel is now right. He's got the top two in his sights now. So now this race is about to get interesting again. Less than 2 laps to go. Tang still on the inside and is going to clear the 24. But here comes Fiegel, but they've got Ferranti to deal with again. They go 3 wide on by. Also, look at who else is up here. The points leader, Joshua Sekuli's in the mix. Sekuli's trying to go for win number 2, but the white flag is out. Tim Fiegel right now has that spot. Sekuli trying to run the inside. Kind of got a bit tight, but they've got 2 cars ahead of them that are damaged and slow. Thoreau and Dollarton. This is going to get really crazy, but Fiegel, it looks like he's going to run away scot-free. Unless Sekuli gets a run to the inside. Checkered flag waving. Tim Fiegel wins the Cincinnati Ford Dealers 400 at Kentucky. Tim Fiegel finally gets his first win of the season, and he gets it here at Kentucky. What a comeback after falling 2 seconds behind the leader after lap traffic got in the way. Came back, took the lead, and won. But let's look at the rest of the results. The points leader, Joshua Sekuli, is definitely going to keep the points lead as he finished second. Great run for him. Carson Gum with a solid performance in the 3rd position. Highest finishing rookie, Jackie Tang, in 4th. And then Jay Jefferson with a good finish in 5th to round out the top 5. Preston Plord with a solid performance in the 6th position. Rafael Leduc with a much-needed good run in 7th. Joshua Collard finishing out in 8th. William Duncan with a good run in 9th. And then rounding out the top 10 was Ryan Brommer in the 10th spot. Rest of the lead lap cars were DJ Curtis, Dylan Poteet, Emmanuel Hartnett, Benjamin Miles, Paul Minnick, Zach Flickinger, and Jessica Shelton. Everyone else that finished were a lap or more down. Dylan Thoreau, Richard Johnson, Charles Sanford, Chris Dollarton, Alex Ferranti, and everyone else was out of the race after the 2 cautions that came out. Seth Cole, Patrick Smith, Jonathan Zorline, Matt McIntyre, Ashlyn Boyd, William Brock, Dorian Facepuncher, James McLeod, James Qualls, Johnny Gardner, Phil Parker, Sean Galligan, Matt Haas, Kyle Matthews, Peachy London, Dylan Jacobs, Jake Baskinger, Zachary Fitzwater, Dylan Young, and Trent Dunham. Well, that does it for our coverage here today at Kentucky Speedway. Next week, we head to a road course track. First time ever, we are racing at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into Mid-Ohio. And this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.